this class we're going to texture this model. So we're going to build texture for this model plus shader. So this is our model in front of us. So overall this is the interface, and then these are the materials we are having. So for texturing this object, what we need to do, we need to find out the layers, and then this is the texture set, this is the layer panel, this is the properties. So before starting the texturing, we need to bake the texture for this model. So this model will going to get the baking from here. So now what do you mean by baking? So baking is we are projecting the details from high poly to low poly model. So for this we need to bake the textures. But over here we are only having the single model in front of us. We are not having the high poly. So in that case we're going to bake the mesh maps. So for baking the mesh maps we need to click over here, and then this is the window we are getting in front of us. So whatever the texturing or the details we are going to give on this model will be getting baked into these maps. So the maps which are selected over here, normal map, the different kind of maps we are having over here. And then the common parameters, if you're clicking on this common parameters, we are getting the output size, that is 512. So it will be around 8K. So we're going to take it as 4K 4096 for a good better resolution. And then we can apply diffusion, and then use low poly because we are having one single model. So we're going to use it as use low poly mesh as high poly only. And then moving to the bottom little bit, the anti-aliasing. I hope everyone is familiar with anti-aliasing. The jagged edges we are getting on the model. Okay. So in texture also we're going to avoid them. So anti-aliasing, the level of quality, the subsampling will be around 4 by 4. So we can click over here. So after clicking over here 4 by 4, we can get into the normal vertex, space, ID, ambient, and then if you want to increase the rays over here, we can increase from 64 to 128 to 56. So these can be getting multiplied over here, and then over the curvature, position, and then thickness. So we are getting the secondary rays. It's up to you, but that is not necessary for such case. So what we need to do, we need to simply bake selected textures. So we're going to click it. It will going to take a little bit of time. So this is it. We have completed the baking. Press OK, and then you can see over here we are getting the maps also, normal map, all different maps we are having. And then after baking, we can see the overall look and feel of our model is also changed. Now we can also press Shift right click to change the orientation of light also. Shift right click and then drag your mouse to the right to the left. Okay. Now moving to the layers panels. Already we are having the single layer, so we're going to remove it, and then we need to create a fill layer. After creating the fill layer, every time when you will going to click the fill layers, you will be getting the channels color, metal roughness, normal, and then at the same time you're getting the sliders also. So what we need to do, we are creating a material for a metallic part. So in texture set list, we need to find it. So this is the texture set list. We are having only two texture set list, the two materials, metal and then rubber. So already this metal part is getting selected. So the layer will going to get connected to this part only. Now what we need to do, we need to create a texture for this cylinder area. So for doing it, we need to increase it, the metallic part of it. So we're going to get to this channel metallic, and then we can increase it, the metallic area over here. Now we can see we're getting something related to the metallic. So this is it, and then if you're changing the color of it, you're changing the color of it, and then the roughness, decreasing the roughness, we're going to get some kind of reflectivity over here, and then same for the height, but currently I have not given any map. So this is the thing. So we can create the fill layer and then delete it, and then we can create the paint layer also in the same way. Over here we are getting the channels again, and then we can select the layer and then we can paint it. So this is all about it. So creating the fill layer, naming is metal, and then we're going to increase the metallic completely to the 1%, and then little bit of roughness over here, decreasing the roughness, and one more layer will be there for the paint. So this will be independent layer for the paint, in which we're going to only give the color. So metal and then paint. Now if I get to the paint layer over here, if I give any kind of color over here, so this is the red color I've given. After giving the red color, we can see the complete part is getting affected. So we need to only paint the cylinder area. So what we can do, right click over here and then exclude all, and then we can include by single click and then click on this thumbnail. So this is the part which is getting included, and then this is the part which is excluding, which will not going to give any kind of texture, but it will going to take time if I will going to select each and every layer. So what we can do, we can simply create a group. So creating a group from here, so we need to drag it as we do in Photoshop. So this will be on top of it. So metal, name it as metal, and then click click and drag onto this group. Now this is connected to the group. Now for excluding, for masking it, right click over here and then exclude everything. Now you click it on the cylinder and then back to this thumbnail. So now this is under the category of metal group, and then this is the metal, and then this is the paint layer. Now back to the paint metal layer. After getting to the metal layer, already I have increased the metallic area. You can see over here. Now for giving it more rough texture for the metallic, we need to add a filter. So for adding filter, simply we need to get over here to add the effect and then add filter. So as soon as you're clicking over here, you're getting this filter is an empty, and then the filter, no filter is selected. You click it over here and then the filter you can give it over here, that is rough. Simply going to write is add rough and then matte finish rough. We're going to click it, and then automatically it will going to connect over here. You can see we're getting a kind of roughness over here. You can change the lighting condition by pressing shift, right click, then dragging your mouse to the left, to the right. You can see we're getting some kind of details. Now whatever the details you are getting over here, you can also change it. So we need to select this filter layer, and then you can increase the scaling, you can increase the grunt scale, you can increase the brush density. So more contrast you will be getting over here. So overall we have got a look of a metallic material, and then back to the paint layer. Enable this paint layer. Now with the paint layer you can see the more volume density we are getting in the shader. Now on this paint layer we need to add a mask. Okay, so for adding the mask we need to get into this icon. So we need to add a black mask. After adding the black mask, it will going to mask everything, and then we need to apply a kind of grudge mark or any kind of texture. So for that part we need to get over here, we need to click add generator. So add generator is going to give you more options for editing your mask. So this is generator which is currently empty, and then same as for we were getting for the filters. You can click over here, and then these are the different kind of generators we're getting. So simply we can click over here for the metal edge wear. So click it. After clicking over here metal edge wear, you can see we're getting something not that much of visible on the edges. We're getting a kind of detail. So what we need to do, we need to invert the overall look and feel of this texture. So simply getting to the parameters, and then over here in the invert you can click false. Now you can see we're getting a texture little bit good, and then again we are getting the settings. So whatever the inputs you're giving, as you're giving for the filter, now I'm giving for the generator. So we are getting the properties, so we can decrease the wear property over here, and then contrast, decreasing, increasing. It's up to you how much look and feel you wanted from that particular thing. And then grunge amount, and then grunt scale. If you're increasing the grunt scale, it will going to create a kind of repetitive textures. So always try to decrease it depending on the size of the object. So this is the large scale object as compared to the other parts. So I think this is fine. And then we can also decrease the level, and then if I increase the contrast, will I get something? Nothing that much. So we can increase the wear level more, and then little bit decreasing the contrast, side by side controlling the wear also. So this is the thing we are getting. And then one important thing, if your system is getting lagging, so I've already baked this texture at 4K. So now beside this layer panel, you are getting the texture set setting also. So in texture set setting says the size is around 4K. You can decrease it according to your configuration of your system. So 2048. Now it will be a little bit more responding to your work. It will be a little bit faster. So we can increase it to 4K and then degrade to 128. So back to the layers. Now you can again see. Now it is changing fast enough. So this is the thing we got it. Now the next thing will be we need to create a fill layer. Okay, and that fill layer we can create a kind of grunge map. So this is the fill layer we are having, and then on that fill layer we can create a grunge. We can search over here grunge, and then again you can click over here, so it will going to find in every section, in the textures, in the filters, in the smart materials, grunge, dust, related to the dust. So we can find over here that this is related to the grunge dust small, grunge dust scratchy. So we can click and then drag it, not over here, it will not going to connect it, but on the properties of that fill layer on the left hand side over here. So we're getting the plus icon sign and then leave it. So now you can see you're getting something more sharpness over here, and then again we are missing the color. So in the parameters, invert from false to true. So we are getting it. And then balance, we can change the balance, how much amount balance you need it, how much contrast you need it, increase it. And then you can disable it. But when you're disabling it, you are getting the texture from the metal edge wear, but you're not getting the texture from the grunge dust which I have applied just now. See, we're getting this, a grunge and then metal. We need both texture to align over here. So for that, each and every layer is having the blending mode. So we can get to the blending modes. Normal pass through each and every node is very important. So what we need to add both of the textures. So we're going to use this multiply. So now you can see that previous metal edge wear and then grunge dust. So we are getting this. So we can also edit a bottom material layer also. So we can click on the metal, and then if you want to change the color of it, we can change the color. See, we can change the color of it by this. So it's up to you. So I'm going to create a little bit towards the white, and then if you want to give more details over here for the scaling overall material, we can give it. Okay, back to this. So this is the thing we have done it, and then one more layer we can create for the paint layer. So for creating the details over to the neck over the cylinder, we can get to this, and then we can create a paint layer also. Everything we're going to get over here only, the generator, paint fill, filters. So we can click on this add paint. Now we're getting the paint layer, and then as soon as you're getting the paint, you're getting the brush also. So now if I paint it, see, we are removing the textures. And then if I decrease from 1 to 0, that is the black value, and then we can paint it over here. Undo it. So white will going to give you texture, and then black will going to remove it. No, black will going to give you, okay, and then white will going to remove it. Okay, so I'll give you an example of this. So we need a brush. This is the brush which is very soft rounded brush. We need a kind of grunge or a rough kind of brush. So we will going to get into this brush section, and then we can give a name dirt dirt. So many dirt brush are in front of us, so we can select this dirt 2, which is not that much of having a kind of big radius. Now we can see, and then control right click, drag it to the left, or even you can control the size from here, decrease the size, and then we can see paint it on top of it, and press X, we can remove the texture. See, so what we need to do, we need to remove the textures. Pressing X is going to add a color on top of it, and then pressing X again or a slider from here, coming to the black area, we can remove the texture. So black is kind of transparent, and then white is opaque. You can also increase the flow. See, so undo it. Now align it properly, pressing the F6 for orthographic, and then shift left click and then align it over here. Now we can decrease the size of the brush. Click, press shift and control, and then single click. But we need to change it from white to black, and then again click it. See, we have created a texture on the neck. Again, we can change the lighting condition, and then you can also see we are getting a line over here because of the UV. That's the seam of the UVs. And then click, then got it. You can paint manually, changing the lighting condition, paint it. So everything is on independent layer. You can change whenever you want to change anything. And then increasing the size, click left click, and then to the right, left click. Click once, left click, and then shift control, and then click, and then paint it. You can also use a mirror also, but then this is better. And the bottom also, increasing the size, decreasing the flow, you can give certain kind of little bit over here. So this is it. So what we have done, we have created a textures for the metallic. Now furthermore, you can add more dirt, more rust. Okay, so we can continue in the next class. Okay, so for it, this is it.